Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Lisa of Diamonds and Stitches, and today I'm going to do a video about replacing my cover on my hashtag drills and chills piece with parchment paper and how I do it. And yeah, so let's get into that. I'm going to move you guys down and we'll get started. Okay, so this is my Ever Moment piece that I bought for Drills and Chills, hashtag Drills and Chills. And when it came, it is one sheet. It is one cover, it is one piece for the whole canvas. Even though it's a 30 by 40, I work in sections. And so when the cover sheet is one full sheet, it makes it hard for me because I'm either peeling back a portion of it, and then when I'm done that portion, of course it's got the drills on it, and so then I'm pushing it back, and there might be a couple of areas in there that I did not actually finish, and so the paper is now bulging up and sticking up, and then that drill area that I have not completely finished is now open to the elements, so to speak. And so that, you know, I may not get back to my diamond painting for a while. And so that, you know, things can happen, and hair and dust and that kind of thing. And so I found this from the review. I will link her YouTube down below. But I saw on one of her videos that she had replaced her top sheet with parchment paper. Now, please make sure that you are doing it in parchment paper. I'm going to bring you guys down just a little bit more here. Sorry. That you are doing it in parchment paper, not wax paper. Wax paper will ruin your canvas. It will stick on it, and it is like the cover sheet, the plastic cover sheet. When you put it on the wrong way, it sticks to your canvas, and it is very hard to get back up. So parchment paper only. So I bought this very big, long parchment paper pack, basically, or case from Hobby Lobby. It was $5.99, and then I used a 40% off coupon. It's huge, you guys. Like, it's one really, really great big roll, and it's actually bigger than my canvas is, so it's going to be perfect for this. So what I do is I take it out. And the great thing about parchment paper is you do not have to, where's my scissors? You do not have to worry about which side you're going to place the parchment paper on. I recommend always to do it, you know, there's a natural bend, there's a natural roll in the parchment paper. Put that side down. That seems to be the best, but so all I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it out the sides of my canvas, and then I'm going to cut it carefully across because spatial awareness and I are not the best of friends. There we go. And then put this off to the side. Okay, so this is going to be a bit bigger, and this is not very nicely. I'll turn this around and just cut this on that just a little nicer because it's not. Very quickly here. Just like a nice clean straight edge, and that was not. Okay. So this is just a bit bigger than my canvas size and the size of the cover sheet. So I am actually going to just cut this a little bit on this side because it's just a little too wide. Oops. So let's cut that. So your goal really, let me bring that. Your goal is to keep it almost the same size as the canvas is, or at least the cover sheet. Yeah, I would do the cover sheet more than anything else. Okay, I was a dingbat and cut the wrong edge. Sorry for the noise, guys. But, okay, and then I'm just going to throw this piece away. And the great thing about parchment paper, okay, so you see that it has this like natural roll, right? Flipping it upside down and placing that on your canvas is, I think, the best option. Holy good night, nurse. I actually cut it a little crooked. I'll work with it. It's fine. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to, yeah, I totally did. Again, it's a good thing I'm not a builder because I wouldn't be able to build squat. I'm just going to cut a couple of extra pieces. But what I do is I fold mine in half and then I fold it in half again. And then I'm going to take this and fold it in half. And then I'm going to actually cut it. This is where I'm going to cut it. And just, you know, really good scissors, really good, nice scissors. And then I'm going to fold it in, I might actually do this one in thirds because you guys know that I am not the best. Yep, I'm going to do it in thirds. I am not the best. Okay, and this is probably not, you know, the best way to do it, but this is the way I do it because I like my squares or my sizes just a bit smaller because I don't diamond paint quickly. And when I do, I sit down and I'm most of the time only able to do a small section. So that's what I'm going to do is fold it in thirds. Now, some people just like to do it in half. You do it to the size that makes sense to you. This is just what I do. Fold it in half again, and then depending on the size of my canvas and what, you know, if it's a challenge piece, if it's something that I know I'm going to do quickly, I might make bigger sections because I know I'm going to work on it longer. So just cut up all of your pieces. See, some of them are a little small. Oh, some of them are a little smaller than others, and that is okay by me. So again, you know that there's kind of that natural roll. So, and all of these pieces are a little different sized. Because again, good thing I'm not a builder. My buildings would fall down. You guys all know about my coloring and artistry. Yeah, I have the same thing with building. It's all good. It's fine. Okay, these are really small pieces. I'm going to go back to that one piece that I cut and take some off of there as well. But I'll show you what I'm going to do. This is by far the best way I have found. Now, I had done a little teeny tiny mini how to replace with parchment paper, and one of my subscribers had made a comment and said, just make sure that you don't leave the parchment paper on for too long. Like, my intent, honestly, was to go to all of my whips and replace every single one of them with parchment paper. Now, one of my whips, I started in 2017. So, clearly, I'm not on that as much as I should be. And so that means that it's going to be sitting for probably quite some time, right? That is a really dinky piece. But she had said that after a while, the parchment paper can, you know, maybe stay a little, it's maybe a little harder to get off. And so I was like, ooh, maybe I don't want to go and add parchment paper to every single one of my canvases. So I'm going to do them as I'm working on them. So this one, okay, I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna use some of these pieces because again, I was a dingbat and I cut it a little crooked. But your goal basically, oh, that should be good. That should be good. Your goal is to cover your canvas almost to the point where your cover sheet was. So I'm going to take the cover sheet off of this canvas. You guys, this canvas is beautiful, but yes, there is some bubbling. And I was actually surprised because I had heard that Evermoment's canvases were really good, but I actually have, there's some bubbling here, and then there's a very big line of bubbling here. I'm gonna be able to fix it, I think, fairly easily. And I wonder if that happened when I did not know this either. But when you take your opaque cover off, or that cover sheet off, and your canvas is rolled and your goal is to flatten out your canvas, if you re-roll it after you have flattened it, you can apparently create bubbles or divots or blemishes on your canvas, which I did not know. And that could potentially, quite honestly, be the reason why this happened, because I don't remember this when I undid it the first time, but I did roll it back up. So just an interesting tip. I did not know that. Okay, so now all of my squares are cut. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to start at the bottom, and I am going to just place them down. Kind of want them the same size, Lisa. Sort of-ish, if I can. I'm not going to, it's okay. But my goal is just to kind of overlap these pieces. And I'll take one of these. Perfect. Okay. And you just want to overlap your pieces, and that's all that you're going to do all the way across the canvas. And this, whoops. Okay, see how easy that is? I mean, honestly, it is so easy to, but now once you do that, and you take your parchment piece of paper off, it will then kind of almost curl the other way. I don't save my pieces of parchment for the next canvas. I'm just gonna throw them out. As I take it off and I finish that section, I'm just gonna throw it out. That's what works for me. So, okay. I seem to be very clearly doing these big pieces, and there's no right or wrong, you guys. Just cover your section, you know, just get some of this parchment paper on your canvas, make sure it overlaps, and it is, like, seriously the easiest thing ever. Just make sure it overlaps the last one. Now, I work from the bottom to the top for this reason, because I work from the top. I always work in the top left-hand corner and work myself either down or across. When I put my parchment paper on this way, this allows me to start my piece of parchment paper. Let's cut this one in half. It allows me to start my parchment paper in that corner, and in it, I'll show you guys when we get there. But yes, I found this from the review. You guys, I'm gonna have to cut some more parchment paper because wow, I did kind of mess up. So you want to make it, honestly, the size of your canvas, not your cover, because you are going to overlap, which somehow I forgot that part. I don't know what I was thinking. Yep, don't know what I was thinking. That was too little, okay. Yeah, so do as I, mentioned, don't do as I did. Okay. Okay, yep, definitely going to need to cut up. And you know what? These do not have to be exact, you guys, just as long as you have enough to cover your canvas. That's your whole goal, is just to overlap and cover your canvas. Perfecto. Okay, not pretty, but effective. Okay, so it is now all covered. And now you can see, and the cool thing is too, now you can kind of see your canvas underneath, which is kind of cool. So this, again, is not pretty, but because I work up in the top most of the time, so I can come across and I can pull this one little piece off, work in this little section, and then if I want, I can go to the next section, maybe peel it off a little bit if I'm still, working. And then if I have finished it, I can just cut that off, right? Because once it's done, you don't have to cover it. Now, when you take your parchment paper off too many times, it does start to roll and it does some weird things. Like here's a piece that I took off from another canvas and it rolled the other way. So it was flat this way, it went flat this way, but because it had been on the canvas for a little bit, like a couple of weeks, and then when I took this piece off, it rolled up the other way. You can, do something like this along a straight edge and make it flat again if you want. But to me, like the parchment, and then you can get it to lay flat and then reuse it if you want. But to me, parchment paper was, it was $6 for this huge roll, and I have already done 4 canvases, 2 small ones and a fairly large one. And I have so much parchment paper left. Like there's what's left on this roll. There's so much. So to me, for $6 and then a 40% off coupon, or maybe if I had gone to Joann's or Michael's and looked in their baking section for parchment paper and bought there, I could have used a 50% off coupon and maybe, done the extra 20% off, during the holidays or whatever to stock up. So to me, that's a fairly cheap option to replace the covers of the canvas. I don't love these opaque covers. I just don't like these unless my canvas has a thumbnail. I don't know what the picture is, and which is fine. And I do have some canvases that don't have thumbnails, honest to Pete. The other thing is the clear canvas. Just hang on, guys. The other thing is the clear cover on the canvases that you can see through. Totally awesome, but the crinkle noise is so annoying to me, especially if I'm diamond painting at night and I might have a little sleeping in bed with me and I don't want to make the noise. this doesn't make noise. This does not make noise, not to the crinkle sound, right? And so I can take this diamond paint and then I'm done. So I hope that this was helpful. Again, I got the idea from the review and her details are down below. I really appreciate that because before what I was doing was actually taking this, and then I'm not good at scoring. I've actually cut through a canvas that way. And so I was tearing the section off or tearing a strip down, and that also was not ideal. So this has been a game changer, which I appreciate. And yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you got some great information out of this. And I hope to see you in my next video. All right, bye-bye.